Traveling across the Pacific like a freight train from thousands of miles away, colossal waves are on a collision course with the northern coast of California. These are Goliaths, the type of waves that you're used to seeing in Hawaii in the winter months. But today, we're not in Hawaii. We're actually just south of San Francisco near Half Moon Bay at Mavericks, where a collection of 24 big wave surfers are going to take on these giants, ride waves that are 40 feet in height, and they explode with such force that they register on the Richter scale. This is the Body Glove Mavericks Invitational, and you're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Hey everybody, Soundmaster Kayla here, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series, and allow me to welcome you to Pillar Point Harbor, just 20 minutes south of the city by the bay, San Francisco. Now, it was long believed that the massive waves that big wave surfers live for were reserved for Hawaii, at waves like Waimea, Pipeline, and Jaws. But when she sees fit, Mother Nature decides to deliver powerful swells from the northwest, and the entire surfing community descends upon this break, simply known as Mavericks. Now, since its discovery in the 1960s, it was long thought that this wave was unrideable. But as you can see, these times have changed. Today, 24 competitors are going to attempt to surf these massive waves while facing the threat of being held down underwater for wave after wave, sometimes at over a minute at a time, and being dragged along the rocky bottom beneath. You add to that the cold water conditions of Northern California, typically around 50 degrees, and the odds are stacked even further against them. Today, these surfers are not only going to test themselves against Mavericks, but against each other in this one-of-a-kind big wave paddle event. For more on what that means, we're gonna check in with Todd Harris and Mike Parsons, a big wave legend who's no stranger to Mavericks. Guys?
Sal, today is a six-man heat format. Now, the waves are scored on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the very best. All surfer scores are total of their two highest scored waves. And remember, your highest scoring wave is doubled in value. So, Mike, it really puts a premium on quality over quantity.
Well, it really does, and it's a great format, doubling that one score. So you're looking for an excellent ride every time you paddle out. In big wave surfing, that's what it's all about. Position yourself deep. It's about the biggest, heaviest wave, steepest drop, and making the wave. That's what the judges will be focusing on.
We have reached the semifinals. Heat number one is a great one with Anthony Tashnick, Tyler Fox, Peter Mell, Ryan Seelbach, Ryan Augustine, and Ken Collins in our six-man heat. Before we get to the competition, let's check in with the fourth member of our crew. Here's Corbin Harris.
Hey guys, we're in the thick of it here on the athlete boat, Mr. Morgan. The water is a cool 53 degrees and we've got sets coming in up to 20 foot. Some of the riders I've been talking to have said the offshore winds are picking up their boards and putting them off. It's making it pretty risky Mavericks, they're saying. It's going to be interesting as the day goes on and it's only getting bigger and bigger.
All right, thank you, Corbin. Stay safe out there. We are into the semifinals. Remember, six-man heat as the waves are coming in, 10 being the perfect score. And Mike, you look at these conditions, you surfed here before, and we see two men already up.
Yeah, real heavy wave here to get things started. Anthony Tashnick makes the drop successfully there. You can see the wind and the chatter, as Corbin pointed out, blowing out of the southeast direction, creating air and lift under their board. So the drop's really heavy here this morning. The interval of the swell is also a big interval, which makes the wave really steep and moves really fast through the water. So nice opening ride there for Anthony Tashnick.
And not so much for the reigning 2013 Mavericks champion, Peter Mell, as we look at Tashnick's wave one more time.
Yeah, Pete Mell behind him here. He only gets a one paddle takeoff, just jumps up and goes down really hard. Anthony Tashnik and Pete, very good friends here as we take another look at Pete's ride. Jumps to his feet, tries to get that rail set, and unfortunately hits a chop, pearls, and goes over the front. Pretty heavy wipeout for Pete Mel. And that can really throw your heat off. That happens at the start of the heat. Hopefully there's not too many waves behind it. And Anthony here again, real stable on his feet. Good entry into that wave. It's so important positioning here at Mavericks. And a nice successful ride there for Anthony. That'd be a good score.
So Peter Mel gets a 1 on that opening score. You double it because that's his best wave so far. So he has a 2. Anthony Tashnik, a 7.83. His score now is a 15.66. And Peter Mel scrambling yet again.
Well, another late takeoff for Pete, and the wind gets under his board there. He tries to go left and goes over the handlebars again there, going down pretty hard, but it looks like no waves behind it, so Pete will be fine. He's trying to get that backup score on the board and then get that one excellent ride. You can see him swimming for his board here, and you know, the key there is just hoping another set's not coming. You see the tap on top of the head, signaling that he's okay. He does not need help from the water patrol.
On the right of your screen, Peter Mel in the yellow. And is this a late, poor decision by Pete?
Well, he's only able to paddle once or twice to get into this wave, so he has to jump to his feet at the very top. And ideally, he would have entered that wave from a little bit further out. He goes down pretty hard there, but fortunately for him, the impact of the wave really didn't hit him, so he's in a relatively safe place. And he'll be looking for a much better wave than that.
Semifinal number 1, and so far the only man really to do anything in this heat is Anthony Tashnik. Peter Mel has 2 waves, but Mike, as you know, it is all about quality here. Your best scoring wave will be doubled in points, and it looks like a set is coming through.
Well, that is true, the importance of that one really good ride. Here is Tyler Fox, late drop, big wave, standing way back on the tail there. And a beautiful drop there for Tyler Fox. And just like we were talking about, looking for that one excellent wave, this will be a good score for Tyler. One of the bigger waves we've seen so far in this semifinal. And Tyler has a lot of experience out here at Mavericks, growing up in this area and surfing down at Ghost Trees quite a bit. Another big wave spot as we see behind him. This is Ryan Augustine.
So Augustine, the 31-year-old from just down the road in Santa Cruz, California, up and riding. His wave not quite as big as Tyler Fox's, but he makes the connection and looks like he's going to kick out.
Yeah, just a backup wave there for Ryan. So these big waves, you only have a certain amount of time, so you've got to get busy, and then at the same time, when the big sets come, you want to be in position as we see Tyler Fox. Late drop here, a lot of bump in the face there. You can see all the chatter. He gets way back on the board there for control. Kind of sets his back foot there to get that bottom turn, and nearly goes down, but holds on. So a nice drop there for Tyler Fox.
And here's Augustine's wave, not quite as high scoring. He picks up a 3.50.
Yeah, just a backup wave here for Ryan. You can see that wave wasn't quite big enough to really grab the reef and double up. So that's just going to be a backup score for him.
Anthony Tashnik out in front right now with the highest score of 15.66. That is because he's got one solid wave, and your best scoring wave is doubled. So Mike Parsons, the rest of the guys really have their work cut out for him, especially Ryan Seebach and Ken Collins, who are yet to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they're going to have to get going, but the thing about big wave competition is it just takes that one good ride, and you really want to be in position when the set approaches. And we can see right now, this is Ken Collins, the local boy. He's up and riding. Nice looking wave here. And nice early entry there for Ken. And he's going to sit back here, bottom turn as this wave doubles up. And a big wally section in front of him. Oh, and he goes down hard. Just picked maybe a high line there, a little too high, and that wave hit him very hard. And the thing about Mavericks is that second section sometimes is the most powerful part of the wave. So Ken Collins will get back out there.
This is Ryan Seebach's first wave in the blue, the 44-year-old from San Francisco.
Yeah, this is a nice looking wave. It's got a big wall in front of it, and he stands back on the tail there. Took off nice and deep, positioned himself perfectly. And Ryan, being from right up the beach here in San Francisco, surfs Ocean Beach a lot, which is a great training ground for Mavericks, big open beach break. And he's done very well here in the past. He's made the semifinals a number of times, so he's looking for that first spot in the final.
And on the inside, Ken Collins, he needs help from the water patrol, and this is a dicey situation. Mike, you've surfed out here before. How critical are these guys?
Well, it gets pretty heavy in there where he is right now because he's getting closer and closer to the rocks as the set approaches. So the water patrol want to pick him up as quick as they can. At the same time, they need enough space in between waves, so you can see them going into the channel and then back into the impact zone to pick him up. Looks like he's okay. He's going to jump on the back of the ski here, and it does look like he has deployed his His life vest there is blown up with air so he can surface. He jumps on the sled here, see if he gets his leash off. And sometimes it's dangerous when the board tows like that. It can fly back and hit you. So the Water Patrol prefer when you pull the leash off. But he didn't want to lose his board there. He's got the rest of the heat to surf, so he leaves the leash on.
Here it is one more time. Collins with a great takeoff here and a beautiful looking wave.
Yeah, nice early entry there. As you can see him getting nice and low, absorbing the shock there. Great style there from Ken Collins. And he sets up this inside and pulls a high line right here. Probably thought about the barrel and goes down relatively hard. And Ken Collins, that'll be a backup score, but still pretty well surfed.
Ryan Seelbach also getting into the action. He picks up a nice scoring wave, a 7. You double it, he's now on a 14.
Yeah, this was a really nice wave. Real steep takeoff. The wave had really drawn off the reef. As we see the GoPro shot here, he gets low, gets on that rail, big powerful wave behind him, and just perfect positioning, really. Took off as deep as he possibly could, and that'll be an excellent score and put him right in contention.
Semifinal number 1 action continues here at Mavericks. Now, just preparing to get to Mavericks is one story, but surviving it is a whole nother situation. You have to be physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared for the damage your body's going to take on this horrific wave. Mike, you have surfed this wave on its worst days. Give us a sense of what it's like to be out there.
Well, it really truly is one of the heaviest waves in the world, and the number one factor for me is the rocks there. In a swell direction that's west like this today, it can easily push you into those rocks. I was pushed through them back in '94, unfortunately the day that Mark Fu passed, and it's an experience that I'll never forget. Definitely one of the heaviest waves in the world.
Quick look at the scores right now, semi number 1, and we have got the man on top, Ken Collins, who is sitting on a 17.83. Anthony Tashnik sits in second place, and Ryan Seelbach in third. Top 3 will be moving on to the final as we get set for the next set to come through, and it looks like it's going to be Ken Collins.
Yeah, Ken Collins with just a real quick ride there. You see he's going to have to scramble to the shoulder now because the set's approaching, and paddling for the first wave of the set here at Mavericks can be really heavy at times, because you do not want to be caught inside. And behind him now, on a bigger wave out the back, it's Anthony Tashnik again. Big late drop, so he's really having a fantastic heat so far, Anthony Tashnik.
So Tashnik's third wave, this could be a good one. Remember, your highest scoring wave gets doubled in point value, and we only take your top 2. And Tashnik, the 29-year-old from nearby Santa Cruz, California, is going to kick out of this one.
Yeah, Anthony has so much experience out here. He won this event previously. He's been surfing out here since he was 16 years old. Did a lot of the stunt double work for Chasing Mavericks, so a very experienced surfer out here at Half Moon Bay is Anthony Tashnik. And there's a big, huge late drop for Tyler Fox. That's going to be a great score. Almost got in the air on that drop in a very big wave, so a good, successful ride there for Tyler Fox.
So Tyler Fox lives to tell a tale right there. The 32-year-old from Aptos, California, picking up his second wave of the contest. Let's go back first and start with Tashnik's ride.
Well, here's a great angle of Anthony Tashnik. The camera mounted on the back of his wetsuit here, looking at what Mavericks looks like from behind. And a lot of power in that white water there. Here it is from the front angle. Good controlled drop there. There was never a moment there where he was in jeopardy of falling. Just a nice backup wave there for Anthony Tashnik.
And then Tyler Fox up and riding in the orange.
Yeah, big steep drop for Tyler. A little bit on the shoulder there. So not going to be one of his biggest scores, but another solid ride for Tyler Fox.
So scores coming through. Tashnik picks up a 6.93. His new score is now 22.59, and Tyler Fox a 16.33 total score. And ouch! Anthony Tashnik decides to bail at the last second.
Yeah, the wind just got caught underneath Anthony's board there. He decided to try to kick out, and unfortunately for him, he got sucked over the falls. You can see his board now heading for those rocks. So a real serious wipeout here for Anthony Tashnik, our heat leader.
So the leash obviously snapping for Tashnik. His board heading towards the rocks. Out back, Ryan Augustine's second wave in white.
And it's one of the bigger waves of the day. Ryan Augustine, big late drop, deep on the reef there. That'll be an excellent score as we see Anthony Tashnik getting rescued there by the Water Patrol. Great job. Got him out of the impact zone before the second wave even broke. So incredible job these guys do on the skis and the water safety.
And this is Ryan Seelbach.
And Ryan Seelbach, airdrop there, and he goes down hard. You could see how steep that wave was. Totally detached from his board, and look at the power. The board snaps underwater. That board's in 2 pieces. So really giving you an idea how much power is here at Mavericks.
All right, let's go back and look at this one more time. This is Anthony Tashnik, and Mike, that is a bad place to be.
The worst possible place to be. You see him getting sucked over the falls there. I mean, that wave is huge and very heavy situation here for Anthony Tashnik. He tries to get out of it. The wind gets a hold of him, falls, lands on his board, and gets sucked over the falls. That is a nightmare for Anthony Tashnik. We've mentioned he has a lot of experience. He'll be fine in handling it, but heavy situation. And then, of course, Ryan Augustine, the big, beautiful drop. Ryan has a lot of experience out here. He normally rides a shorter board than most surfers and sits really deep in the bowl, and it paid off for him on that wave.
And here's Ryan Seelbach, GoPro, giving us a very unique angle. And Mike, this was a bad situation. This is where the board snaps.
Yeah, he comes detached from his board there, and he gets on that inside rail and almost went left there into the barrel. You can see the broken board there. He is okay, but wow, the waves are so powerful here this afternoon. With this low tide, these waves are so steep and treacherous, and here we go. Tyler Fox in a great position, big wave, and late drop there, just dodges the lip. That will be a huge score for Tyler Fox, full commitment there.
Mike, what kind of speed are we talking about? Because he dropped in there and just shot out the face.
Well, that was an incredible entry into that wave. This is one of the bigger sets of the day. These guys are scrambling over this. That wave is at least 40, 50 feet on the face. Jet skis are bailing. Everyone's trying to get out of the impact zone. And in terms of speed, these guys are entering these waves with their arms, with paddle power, but by the time they're at the bottom of the face of these waves, they're going in excess of 20 miles an hour.
So here's the situation. Tyler Fox right now in the impact zone, and he's going to have to be rescued in here, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to deploy his vest there, and you can see the water patrol coming in, 2 or 3 skis backing each other up. He's got his arm out, meaning I want to get that sled. I want out of here, boys. And he has deployed his safety vest. He took his leash off there so the ski can go faster.
Here it is one more time, the final wave of semifinal number 1.
Yeah, this is a really steep wave. Tyler Fox, good entry, air drops, gets way back on his board. The bumps on this wave are huge, and that is incredible surfing there from Tyler Fox. And just gets nailed right here. The second surge of that wave, he braces for impact and goes down. But making that drop is so technically difficult.
Was it worth it? He picks up a 9, so that bumps him to a 24, and that puts him into first place as heat number 1 of the semifinals has come to a conclusion. Tyler Fox, Anthony Tashnik, and Ryan Augustine will advance on to the final here at Mavericks.
And the swell here today is out of that westerly direction with a large, long period, and the low tide is making these waves incredibly hollow and steep, and that is in the back of your mind when you're going to take off. So these surfers definitely aware of those factors today.
Semifinal heat number 2 set to go with Greg Long, Grant Baker, Sean Dollar, Cole Christensen, Shane Dorian, and of course, Zach Warmout out of Santa Cruz, California. And up and riding right off the bat, Grant Twiggy Baker in the orange.
Well, Grant Baker has so much experience out here at Mavericks. He's won this event before. He's very comfortable here. He rides a little bit different equipment than some of the guys. His wide point on his boards are a little far forward. They're great paddlers, and he is looking so comfortable here today. And a nice opening wave there as you see him grab his board and paddle, wave off the jet ski. So a good opening wave there for Grant Baker.
Also mentioned that Cole Christensen there was involved there. Crash. Looks like he's going to be okay.
And this is local boy Sean Dollar. That wave had a lot of bump on the face there. He gets in early, jumps to his feet really quick. So important, that positioning, that timing when you jump up and anticipating the bumps. So Sean Dollar gets on the board there. He's been a real standout here at Mavericks over the years.
All right, let's look at this one more time. This was the first wave caught by Baker.
Yeah, Grant Baker successfully makes it there. Cole Christensen behind him going for the one paddle takeoff, and he tries to go over the top and gets sucked over the falls. Grant Baker in complete control there, perfect positioning, nice bottom turn. You can see that board very thick and stable, even though he gets knocked off right there. His equipment looks really good, Grant Baker.
And there is the drop once again as Sean Dollar gets his first wave.
Yeah, Sean Dollar has won the XXL Awards out here before for one of the biggest paddle-in waves ever ridden. So Sean Dollar, a real threat in this heat.
Let's check in with Corbin, who's with Anthony Tashnik, advancing on to the final.
Anthony, you made it through semi-final number 1. Walk us through the heat.
It was kind of slowed down out there. I think it was when the tide hits dead low, the water kind of will stop moving. So we had kind of a long lull, and It looks like the tide's filling in right now, so the wave should be getting bigger, but I was lucky to get my wave count. I got 2 waves and kicked out, so to get in with my wave count definitely helped me out.
Well, good luck going into the final.
Thank you. Right on, guys.
Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Corbin. Just to update you, Sean Dollar's wave score of 5.50, so you double that. That's his highest score so far. He is sitting on an 11.
And here he goes again. Big drop there for Sean Dollar. Beautiful style, getting real low on his board. Whitewater cascading all over him, and he kicks out successfully. So that'll be his second good ride there for Sean Dollar. He'll be in a great position in this heat.
Zach Warmout taking a look at this one, and fortunately for him, Mike, he was able to get away before going over the falls.
Yeah, positioning so key here. You got to be right in the perfect spot where you can enter the wave, not too far on the shoulder and not too deep. And there's a magic little spot there. And Zach Warmout just in the wrong spot and realizing it. And now a couple of surfers, Greg Long, real deep here, big wave. You can see him get low and get in that crouch. Tons of whitewater coming down. You're just in survival mode right there, trying to hold on in that wave. There's no way, as strong as Greg Long is he going to be able to ride out of that one.
Cole Christensen also dropping on that one on the left of your screen. He'll pick up a 3.33, but is Long who gets the better ride. They're on their first waves here in semifinal number 2. Now remember, it's your 2 best waves and your highest score, they double the value. So it can add up quickly, and as Mike pointed out, you really want to make sure that you're all about quality, not quantity here.
Absolutely. Let's take a look here at some replays. Sean Dollar, all the bump on this face. Perfect style there. Right in the perfect spot, and we mentioned he has so much experience out here, whitewater surrounding him, and he rides out of that successfully.
So the 32-year-old from Santa Cruz, California now has 2 waves. His total score for Sean Dollar now a 19.16. That second wave right here, 6.83.
Yeah, so a good solid wave there for Sean Dollar. He's in a great position in this heat. And nice camera work there from the helicopter. And then, of course, it was Greg Long, real deep, and Cole Christensen going down hard in front of him. Greg has to really get stable here, try to get as far away from that lip as he can. And that second surge is coming. He knows, and he braces for impact.
So Cole Christensen, who we saw crash there just moments ago in the blue, back out on his board. That wave score just a 3.33. Double it gives him a 6.66. There you see the scoring right now. It's Greg Long sitting on that 16.66, but the man leading the way is Sean Dollar with a 19.16. Remember, it's your 2 best waves, and your best score, we double it.
And here we go. Zach Warmout in a good spot here. Strong paddle power there. Really deep on this wave. Perfect positioning there for Zach Warmout. He's been a finalist out here before and has a ton of experience here at Mavericks. This wave doubles up across the inside. And a very good wave there for Zach Warmout.
Mike, you talk a lot about experience, and Zach Warmout certainly has it here surfing at Mavericks.
Oh, he sure does. He's been in finals out here before. He's won XXL awards, so one of the established surfers out here at Mavericks, and always a threat is Zach Warmout.
Smile on his face as he works his way back to the lineup. Swell starting to pick up. Grant Baker now outside in the orange. Twiggy up and riding.
Well, really deep on this one. You see him cross-cut that first section there. Really smart of Grant Baker. The drop is everything out here, and positioning is key. And he was able to cut across that wave and make it into the channel here. Successful ride, and that'll be a great score for Grant Baker based on the fact that he took off so deep on that wave. And very technically difficult surfing, and Grant Baker making it look easy.
All right, let's go back and start with Zach Warmout in the green, all alone on this wave. What did he do right?
He did everything right on this wave. Was really bumpy, got the low stance there, took off deep, and stayed nice and low here. Got that board on a rail. That's one thing in big waves. You want to tip the board over on the rail. You don't want to run it flat and cavitate or track. And Zach Warmout here doing it perfectly at Mavericks like he's done his whole life.
So Zach picks up a 9, that being his highest scoring wave. They double it, so now his total score is an 18. And this is Grant Baker, the 40-year-old from Durban, South Africa.
Yeah, I really love the way he cut across that wave at the top, got it on a rail. You see him staying nice and low there. And right here, he gets on his edge and quickly gets towards the shoulder, beats the lip here just by a little bit. Very technical stuff there from Grant Baker, those subtleties. And to me, it looks like Grant Baker is really finding his feet here in this semifinal and is very much a threat for the win.
So he picks up an 8.07, does Grant Baker. His total score now, Twiggy's sitting on a 23.47 as we go back out, and Baker going to work again with Sean Dollar having to bail.
Oh, big wipeout for Sean Dollar as Grant Baker is successful again. Boy, Grant Baker staying very busy here, and he had that early entry on that wave as it doubles up across the inside. He's looking so controlled, has not made a mistake in this heat.
Out back, all alone in the blue, this is Cole Christensen.
Yeah, Cole on the backside here. Looks like he's on a pretty big board. Just a medium-sized wave, and he kicks out quickly. Just a backup score there for Cole.
So a nice wave coming in, and it looks like the man in red, it's going to be Greg Long that's going to get priority on this one.
Yeah, he's real deep on this one. Comes across that real steep wave here for Greg Long, and he gets in that textbook stance of his, nice and low. Very in control. Board looks great. Took off deep, so that'll be a nice score there for Greg. That's his second good wave, so that'll put him in a great position.
So Long, the 30-year-old from San Clemente, California, with a nice wave there. Let's go back and look. Grant Twiggy Baker has been so active over the last few minutes, Mike, just hoarding as many waves. Remember, it's your two best, and we double your highest score.
Yeah, he's attacking this heat. There's Sean Dollar bailing from the top there, going feet first, the safest way to fall. And Grant Baker cannot put a foot wrong in this heat so far. Entered that wave really from far out. That paddle power is so important. And that board is just looking like a magic board there for Grant Baker. He's able to turn it. It's big enough. It's loose. And here's one more look at Sean Dollar bailing from the top at Mavericks. Incredible wipeout. And Grant Baker, beautiful bottom turn there. He widens his stance, gets ready right there. He knows the lip's close to him. You want to get real low and get that stance really wide, as you'll see Greg Long do here. They all do it. Nice and low, steady stance there, and bracing for anything. All those bumps, he doesn't want to get knocked off his board. That's the key.
So far in semifinal number 2, it is Greg Long leading the way with a 24.09. Grant Baker sits in second with a 23.47. Remember, we're taking the top 3 to the final.
Well, big set approaching here. You can see lines stacked to the horizon. These surfers will be scrambling to get into position here. One of the bigger sets of the afternoon. And on this first one, looks like could be Shane Dorian deep in the bowl here. And he is going to go. This is a massive wave. Airdrop really deep and sticks that landing clean. So Shane Dorian off in a big way. His first wave of this heat, and that is going to be a massive score.
Shane picking a great time to go. His patience showing, Mike. We've talked about it before, as Grant Baker looks like he's going to get the next wave.
Yeah, here's Grant Baker, another giant wave, big steep drop, and he sticks it successfully. So Grant Baker adding to his already excellent heat, and those are some huge waves, big heavy drops deep in the bowl, and you can see how excited Grant Baker is right there, letting out a little bit of a scream, and nothing like the feeling of sticking a drop on a 40-foot face wave in Mavericks.
The 40-year-old from Durban, South Africa, picking up his 4th wave of the semifinal number 2. Remember, it's your top 2 scoring waves, and then your highest scoring wave, they double it. And that's how we get our 3 semifinalists that'll move on to the final. Let's go back and look at it one more time. Shane Dorian, his first wave of the semi.
Well, this is a huge wave, and he sticks that airdrop. So critical, that takeoff, the positioning, what it takes to turn around on a wave like that, sit in the bowl and wait for it. And Shane Dorian, regarded as the best big wave surfer in the world. The GoPro angle here, jumps to his feet in the air right there. You see him weightless. Then he gets low, starts to breathe a sigh of relief as he makes that drop. And nothing in the world like that feeling, and the amount of commitment right there from Shane Dorian.
Dorian is perfect. A 10 on that wave. That gives him a 20 as we double the score. And right behind him was Grant Baker picking up a great wave as well. This is a 9.
Yeah, this was a heavy wave for Grant Baker. Just a one-stroke takeoff there. Gets air, and you see him get low right there and absorb those bumps. Look at this, airborne off the takeoff, sticks it right there. And those are the key couple of seconds, that right when you jump to your feet, you got to be in the perfect spot.
Shane Dorian with that perfect wave jumps himself into 3rd place, his first wave of the semifinal, so he sits in 3rd. Grant Baker leads the way, and then it's Greg Long sitting in 2nd place. Right now we check in with Corbin Harris, who has been floating in the channel all day long.
Hey guys, I had a little catch up with Mark Healy before, and he was telling me the conditions have changed a little bit. Basically, the wind now is coming straight from the south instead of the east. It used to be offshore, now it's going straight into the waves. Also, the sets are less frequent, so the guys are going to have to wait out there for a little longer. So it's going to be interesting to see. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Corbin. Mike, so what does that mean to the surfers? We always talk about how you have to be patient in this contest.
Well, yeah, all big wave contests, you really have to be patient. And it seems like any big swell has a peak of the swell, and you want to be in the right place at the right time when the swell is peaking, as Shane Dorian is doing right now. Another very solid score there for him. But interesting point there with the wind coming more out of the south. That's straight into the bowl here at Mavericks, and it puts that bump on the face coming right at you and makes it extra treacherous. So challenging conditions here for the semifinal.
Shane Dorian, his second wave. Remember, his first wave was a perfect 10, so that puts his score at 20.
Well, Shane Dorian here realizing he needs that backup score after the 10. Any wave he grabs basically puts him in the final. And here's a great GoPro angle. Steep drop there, weight forward, absorbing the bumps, nice style. And the amazing thing about Shane is he's such a good all-around surfer. He's great in small waves, big waves, was once on the world tour, so he has a ton of experience and regarded as the best big wave surfer in the world nowadays.
We are winding down our semifinal number 2, 6-man heats in this event. Greg Long sitting on that 24.09, Grant Baker with a 26.07, but it's Shane Dorian who leads the way with a 27.17. Top 3 are moving on to the final.
Yeah, Shane Dorian with that perfect 10 really setting himself up nicely in this semifinal. Sets approaching here on the outside. We'll see who is in position. Grant Baker again paddling. He's having a great heat. Almost looks like he was going to go left there. He decides to go right. Real smooth wave. Good wave selection, but no wall in front of that one. It's just going to be a backup score there for Grant Baker.
So Baker picking up his 5th wave of the semifinal. Now a scramble in yellow. It looks like Dollar.
Sean Dollar just a little too deep there. Shane Dorian's in the perfect spot, and he grabs another good solid wave there. Nice smooth drop, and Shane making very difficult things look easy, that smooth style of his, and he is going to find himself in this final.
So Shane Dorian picking up his 3rd wave. Remember, he got a perfect 10 earlier in this semifinal. For Baker, well, that wave is not going to improve his score. Remember, it's your 2 best scores, and your highest score we double. So Grant Baker picking up that 5th wave, it's not going to help his cause. As you can see the lineup, and there's some serious chaos out there.
Yeah, a lot of boats, spectators right here in the channel. And Grant Baker taking this first wave of the set. It's really smooth, and he just wisely rides to the shoulder here and kicks out. That may have been just to reposition himself. Maybe he didn't like where he was sitting, and a big set out the back.
Huge wave coming through. It looks like Sean Dollar's in perfect position. He'll need a 9.3 to advance, and oh, and he goes down.
Wow, incredible wipeout there for Sean Dollar. Look at the explosion. Low tide here, that wave breaking all the way through to the reef. Sean Dollar going down very hard. That was an intense wipeout, probably the worst wipeout of the event, as we see the Water Patrol rescuing Sean Dollar right now.
Look at that, he lost his jersey.
He did lose his jersey and deployed his life vest there. And the life vest has become the most important safety factor in paddle and surfing these days. As we take a quick look at Grant Baker. Looked like he was going to go left here and decides to go right. This wave really smooth and cupped out on the reef.
So Baker picking up 6 waves in this semifinal. He has been a very active man in the lineup at Mavericks. The man that has picked up the most impressive wave, though, you've got to say Shane Dorian. He already has a perfect 10, and he's out there fighting for more.
And here he goes again. And Shane has been really instrumental in the safety of big wave surfing, basically developing the V1 life vest that we saw Sean Dollar deploy. And all these guys wearing them, and it's really been an incredible thing for big wave surfing. They're able to deploy that vest, pull those tabs, and it brings them to the surface. As we look at Sean Dollar on the wipeout of the contest, that is an incredibly huge wave. Airdrops right here, tries to stick this landing and try to get his rail set. Unfortunately, he couldn't set his rail. And that is just full commitment from Sean Dollar. Nothing heavier in the world than that, charging a 50-foot wave at Mavericks. And you see here the life vest that we were speaking of. He's deployed that. That brings him up off the bottom. And without that, he would no doubt still be pinned on the bottom.
So the wave scores coming through. Sean Dollar picks up a 5. That doesn't help his cause. He's still sitting on a 19.16. Grant Baker sitting on a 26.07. One man that's been kind of quiet, and that's Zach Wormout in the green. Looks like he's going to grab this wave.
Yeah, Zach trying to get in position there, and position's the key, just in the wrong spot, and he kicks out.
He needs a 6.10 to advance. He does not get it there. The 44-year-old from Santa Cruz, California, as the clock is winding down as we come down to the final waves of this semifinal. Top three are moving on. So there it is. Semifinal number 2 has come to a conclusion, and it looks like once again Baker's going to go, as is Long. These waves, however, will not count.
Yeah, fantastic surfing there. Shane Dorian, incredible performance. And Grant Baker on this wave here with his good buddy Greg Long. They will advance to the final.
So Semi 2 is now complete here at Mavericks, and it will be Shane Dorian advancing on to the final by virtue of a 27.17 within that score, a perfect 10. Grant Baker also joining him. He got a 26.07, and Greg Long also moving on to the final with a 24.09. So the final is all set here at Mavericks, and what an impressive final it should be with some of the very best in the world going head-to-head in a 6-man heat. The Super 6 are set. We now check in with Sal Masekela.
Now, for years, when it came to big waves, it was places like Hawaii, Tahiti, South Africa, and Australia. They were all synonymous with the big wave movement. But California was never on that list. Then one day in 1975, Half Moon Bay resident Jeff Clark, who had been watching this dangerous break for years, he did the unimaginable. He paddled out all alone and suddenly brought the myth of Mavericks to life.
The history of Mavericks. First surfed it in 1975, tried to bend anybody's ear that would listen to go out there with me and surf it. And it wasn't until 1990 where I was able to convince 2 other people to go out there and actually surf Mavericks.
In 1990, there was no myth of Mavericks. Nobody knew about it. And in those few years, the word kind of got out, and some photographers got out here and took pictures of Jeff and a couple of the other guys riding these waves, and it just blew everybody away. I mean, the whole world of surfing just, like, where is that? And since then, it's just grown.
Originally just surfed by a few people, Jeff Clark, always synonymous with the break, used to paddle out there. His friend had a dog named Maverick that would sit on the beach and wait for them. That's how the wave got its name. It is one of the scariest places I've ever surfed in my life.
The Mavericks contest has always been sort of a Super Bowl in a way because it's such a heavy spot. For anyone who rides big waves or surfs at all, this is one of the, if not the most challenging paddle-in spots in the world. It's rare that we get to have all the things together, the weather and the swell, to run an event, and when it all comes together, everyone knows that it's a special day, and if you can have one of those magic sessions, it'll be a once-in-a-lifetime thing for any of us.
Oh my.
The event has been running for almost 15 years now. The big attraction of big wave surfing, not only is it the wipeouts, but it's man versus nature. You really are just pitting yourself against the worst that nature has to offer and trying to come out on top.
After all these big wave focuses around the world, we're finding out that Mavericks can hold a candle to any big wave on any shore in any country.
And Mike Parsons, you've certainly been part of that history. What has Mavericks meant to the world of surfing now?
Well, it clearly is one of the heaviest waves in the world. It certainly is the premier big wave spot in California and arguably the entire world. For all those reasons they mentioned, the rocks, the cold, the sharks, the reef itself, how steep and hollow the wave is, how tricky it is to paddle into, has made it a destination for surfers around the world.
So we are set to go. You got a quick glimpse of the finalists underway. 6 men in this heat. Top 2 waves with your highest wave getting doubled up. And right off the bat, Grant Baker goes to work.
Well, Grant Baker, good aggressive start here. Really steep, heavy drop. He holds on clean, exactly how you would like to start this final. And Grant Baker really on fire. And you got to think that the energy of these surfers is low after surfing 3 times already today. And to come out and attack the final, that's exactly what Grant Baker needs to do to try to get a win on the board.
Baker, at 40 years young, out of Durban, South Africa, starts things off here in the final with a very solid wave.
Yeah, this is a big set wave. He's very deep on the reef. A lot of wind and up the face here. Air drops. gets his weight back here, and you can see the bumps on the face from that south wind. He's able to get his weight on his back foot there in bottom turn, and excellent surfing there from Grant Twiggy Baker, exactly how you'd like to start this final.
His score, a 9. You double it because that's his highest score so far, and that's an 18 right off the bat for Grant Baker, making a case for the title here of this event.
Yeah, just weightless on that drop there. Grant Baker, he's been doing it all day, has not made a mistake or even fallen on a single wave here today. So strong start there, exactly how you'd like to start a final as we see him paddling back out. Big smile on his face and describing how steep that takeoff was.
Corbin Harris caught up with Grant Baker after semi-2.
Twiggy, you've advanced to your second final this season. What are you thinking? What's going through your mind going into the final?
You know what? I just want to keep the momentum going. I don't think I won that semi, so I mean it's all about winning at this stage. So obviously I just need to step up my game a little bit more, and you know, just go all out and put the body on the line now and go for the win.
Well, good luck in the final.
Thanks, bro.
Back to you guys.
So that was Grant Baker earlier prior to the start of the final. He's already got the first wave of the heat, a 9. That's doubled up to an 18 as a set is starting to roll through, and it looks like it might be Shane Dorian who has the perfect positioning.
Yeah, Shane in a good spot here. Big, heavy drop, the wind blowing up the face there, and really has to get low right here. That real casual style and a great opening ride there for Shane Dorian. Big set wave and executed perfectly.
Greg Long out back in the blue.
Greg Long with a bomb of a wave, air drops, and he finds himself a little bit too deep. One of the heaviest waves of the day, though, and incredible ability there to stick that drop for Greg Long.
And Ryan Augustine in the green picking up his first wave.
Well, you can see how these waves are really doubling up and lurching on the reef on this low tide. Heavy drop there for Ryan Augustine. He makes it successfully. He's so experienced out here, surfs here every swell, and a fantastic opening ride there for Ryan Augustine.
Water Patrol going into action here at Mavericks, and they're going after Greg Long. This will be a very quick rescue.
Yeah, you can see how one ski backs up the other. If the first rescuer misses the intended person, then the other ski's right there. Greg Long says, hey guys, I'm fine. They're checking in, make sure, and he's gonna paddle back out.
Give us an idea, Mike, what it's like to even duck dive a wave like this.
It's really tough. You pretty much have to bail your board most all the time at Mavericks as we watch a great GoPro shot here of Shane Dorian. Big drop and glued to his board there with those booties. Water temperature out here at Mavericks, usually in the 50s. It's very, very cold. A lot of these guys will wear hoods on free surfs, and Shane Dorian, real steep drop. You can see the bumps. The wind's picking up, and that is so technical, so difficult to make those drops. It's very hard to describe how incredibly difficult these waves are to ride.
Distinct positioning by Shane Dorian from Hawaii. These cold waters do not seem to bother him. Then this is Long in the blue, and this was the heavy wipeout.
Well, the big air drop from Greg Long. He just beats the lip out there, has to brace for impact. He knows there's no way he's gonna make this. He's gathering himself, trying to get a really good breath, because the beating he is taking right now, there's nothing in the world like it.
Here it is one more time, and makes the drop, as you said, Mike, but watch this. The explosion behind him just engulfs him.
Yeah, really takes him down right there. But just to make that drop, the ability and where he positioned himself on that wave, spectacular stuff there from Greg Long.
Greg Long gets a 6, so his total score is a 12. Shane Dorian sitting on a 17.86, and Ryan Augustine a 16.66.
Well, here we go. Grant Baker in the spot. Huge wave, and that incredible drop there for Grant Baker.
Oh, this is going to be an amazing score. Look at this. He stays out in front, catches on, and he's still riding.
And you see the fist pump there for Grant Baker. He is so stoked. That was an absolutely incredible drop there, airborne from the top on one of the biggest waves of the day. As you can see here, positioning so important. Tyler Fox just a little bit too deep. So Grant Baker in the perfect spot again as he lands that drop. The first couple of seconds of that ride, he was in the air, and spectacular stuff here as you see the wind get under the board. He reconnects, weight goes forward and gets nice and low, and incredible ride there from Grant Baker.
And a perfect 10 for the South African, so his score now is a 29. So the matchup right now is Grant Baker on top. And remember, It's your 2 best waves, and then we double your best score, so he picked up a 20, and it looks like Tyler Fox and Grant Baker up and riding.
Well, Grant Baker a little bit deeper in the bowl there, and Tyler Fox will have to give way as we see Grant Baker again being very aggressive in this final, riding lots of waves and building his score line.
So Grant Baker continues to apply the pressure. Remember, it's 2 of your best waves. We double your highest score. And rarely on a wave like this do we get to see 2 of the world's best competing, but that's exactly what just happened with Tyler Fox and Grant Baker.
Well, here's the replay of it. You see Tyler Fox, the goofy foot, meaning his right foot is forward, and Grant Baker with the left foot forward facing the wave. And Tyler Fox looking back at Grant Baker, giving him the thumbs up, saying, right on, you were in a better spot than me. I'm going to kick out and give way. There will not be an interference there. The judge is very lenient as long as you don't impede on the other surfer's ride. There will not be an interference.
So Tyler Fox picks up a 6.33. He's now sitting on a 12.66.
Yeah, and Grant Baker, that wave was so big. He was in the perfect position, and the judges really liked the criticalness of that drop. It's all about positioning. It's all about how critical the drop is. And that wave was straight up and down, and he was able to nail it.
Should have given more points to Tyler Fox for having the wherewithal on a wave like that to give thumbs up to Grant Baker and cheer him on. But back out in the lineup we go, and it looks like in the orange, it might be Shane Dorian who's got the best position right now to pick up this wave.
Yeah, these guys really moving around. You've got 5 other surfers to contend with. So trying to be the deepest guy, but not too deep, and be right in that perfect position is really the trick. As we see Shane Dorian, he is in the slot right here, right in the bowl at Mavericks. Really steep drop. He's way far forward there and just barely hangs on, Shane Dorian.
The 41-year-old from Hilo, Hawaii, out here getting it done in the ice-cold waters of the Pacific here at Mavericks at Half Moon Bay. And you talked about the guys that wear the gloves and the booties and the head, and Shane, you think, would be one of those guys coming from Hawaii, and the cold water doesn't seem to affect him.
Well, it's a big adjustment for sure for Shane, but he spent a lot of time here at Mavericks since 2010. He had a life-changing wipeout here on a big day in 2010, and has been back a lot practicing. And look at this drop. I mean, he is as far forward as you can possibly get, almost uses the water with his hand to push himself back up. And that was just incredible surfing there for Shane Dorian. And those booties stuck to that board, the GoPro mounted on the nose. A lot of these guys capturing their own images these days and bringing us these incredible shots like this one right here. He jumps up, he's way forward, puts his hand on the wall, almost pushes off the water there, and just talented, skilled surfing there for Shane Dorian.
Final moments of the final here at Mavericks, and Shane Dorian looking for a big score to overtake Twiggy. Will it be enough? And he's coming up with a 7.67, so his total 25.53, not enough to overtake South African Grant Baker. And the final horn has sounded. These waves will not count, but Grant Baker, Mike, I think you would agree, he came out the very first wave and just dominated this heat.
Well, he really did. Started with that 9, stayed very aggressive and active, and followed that up with a perfect 10. So from early on in the day today, Grant Baker has been the man.
Grant Twiggy Baker is being congratulated by Tyler Fox along with the rest of the competitors from our final.
Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie amongst these big wave surfers. You can see Greg Long give him a big hug there, Shane Dorian. These guys did battle today here at Mavericks, and really to make the final or even be in this event, you're a winner.
As we take a look at the final standings, Grant Baker with a 29.33 claims first place, Shane Dorian in second, and Ryan Augustine also on the podium. Well, the Red Bull signature moment has to go to Grant Twiggy Baker. The South African big wave charger was a favorite going into the event for his aggressive approach and ability to place himself as deep as possible into the wave and making those incredible drops. He scored not just 1, but 2 perfect 10s here today. After winning this event in 2006, Twiggy shows no signs of slowing down as he returns to the top of the podium again 8 years later at the age of 40. Congratulations to Twiggy on capturing the Red Bull signature moment and his second win here at Mavericks. Corbin Harris is standing by with our champion.
Twiggy, what a start to the year. You won in Spain, you've won again now at Mavericks. Unbelievable. You must be feeling on top of the world.
There's no feeling like it. I mean, to win the Mavericks, there's the Eddie and the Mavericks. Those are the two contests that we all want to win. And to win the Mavericks, there's just no feeling like it for a big wave surfer. It's a dream come true. And to win both the events, I mean, you know what? You're dealing with Mother Nature. And today I got lucky. I saw some of the best surfers in the world airdrop, land them, almost make it, hit a bump and get pitched. And I was the lucky guy today.
You seem like you're out there with the eye of a tiger, trying to get on all the waves.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't hustling anyone. I wasn't patting on people's inside. But when the sets came, I made sure that I was in the best position to catch the wave. And I trust my lineups here. I believe I know where the bowl is, and that's where I sit. And the waves came to me.
Congratulations.
Phew, thanks so much, man.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Corbin. Mike, final thoughts?
Incredible day of surfing. Grant Twiggy Baker just on a mission from early in the morning. Didn't put a foot wrong. Surfed absolutely perfect and comes away with the win.
That's the story on the water. We send it now back to Sal Masekela.
History made here in big wave surfing at one of the most powerful displays of nature that we've witnessed on the Signature Series. Congratulations to my fellow South African Grant Twiggy Baker getting his second win here at Mavericks. And thank you for joining us at the 2014 Body Glove Mavericks Invitational from Pillar Point Harbor in Northern California. I will see you next time.